Swiss Army knives have been around since 1891. As we've used the multifunction knives for over 130 years, there is a subset of tools we always seem to use within those knives. That's the purpose of the Swiss card that we're going to look at today. That said, I think this card right here is missing things we've already proven we use all the time. As mentioned, this is the Victorinox Swisscard Lite. This is the light version right here. It's a multi-tool card. This is a good retail packaging, a lot of different language support for what's in here, and you can see all that's in here. We'll get into each of those, but as we open this up, oh, the founder. Well, very nice. All right, let's move this aside and get a look. I got this in the blue color. It does come in black and red transparent as well. We'll go through each of these items. Won't take a ton of time, but you can see, of course, that this is about the size of a credit card. And actually, it's a little less, to be honest. You can see that right here. A little less. And we'll talk about the dimensions as well as how thin this is coming up. And we'll show you how it fits in several different wallets.
A real Swiss Army knife! Cool!
Well, this isn't a knife, but it has many things we've seen. So what is missing from this? Well, let's go through what this card has to get you thinking. As part of the Swiss Army family, we expect a lot of features, so let's dive into the 13 functions available to us. We first have a magnifying glass, which looks to be about 2 or 3x in its capabilities. It does have a 3-inch or 7.62 centimeter ruler. We can see how that has the notches here on the back. It gives us an edge to work from for exactness as well, and you also have those notches here on the side, which is quite nice. It does have an 18,000 MCD or millicandela. This is a millicandela light. You can see how that comes on, and I have a bright light here, but you can actually see that as it goes on and goes off. Now, I can't find the beam angle on this because a beam angle is required to really determine the lumens on this. But based on the battery, I would say this is probably a 3 to 5 lumen depending on the freshness of the battery. Not super bright, but good enough in a pinch. The screwdriver set. Let's pull this out. Now that we've actually done everything that's exterior, right here on the bottom, we pull this little piece out and we have a few screw heads. So we have a 3mm and 5mm flathead screwdriver right over on this side. And we have a double aught and a 1/2 Phillips over on this side over here. Very useful in a pinch. So if we put that back in and we work our way around, what we do is come over to here, and now we have our scissors. So there's a little gap right here from where you have your finger hold. These come out, wink. And they have this finger loop, which is nice for stability, and this tension right here for the blade that gives us the return. Very nice to use. You can put your little finger here if you need to, just for stability's sake. It is large. It's one of the largest features of this multi-tool card, but you kind of have to push it down a bit to get it under the hump, and then it just pushes right in. Next up top is this knife blade. All you do is just slide it out. It has a little indentation there for the ability to grab it, and it slides out. Being that this is under 3 inches, we'll talk about its carryability on planes. It's for opening packages. There are really a million other things you can do with a very small knife. So it slides back in here nicely. Then right here at the top, our first feature on this side is a pressurized pen. So it has this little top piece, and really this is kind of a refill, but it's much stronger. And so you have a pressurized pen. Of course, pens are used. I can think of times when you'd use it, and you can keep thinking of others. And then right next to it, just this little dot right here, is a stainless steel pin. Okay? I mean, how often do we need a pin? I do. I can see and think of many ways that you need a pin, so that's quite nice. And then finally, we have a pair or a little set of tweezers right here. Tweezers are awesome. I think everybody knows and understands the benefits of tweezers, which is why that is a staple in not only the knives, but we see in all the different card options. And that is a review of the features. It measures 3.2 by 2.1 by 0.17, pretty thin, and it weighs 26 grams or 0.9 ounces. So based on decades of traditional Swiss Army knife usage, what functions do you think are missing from this card? Well, let's keep thinking. If we look at how thick this is, I've got 4 flat credit cards right here, and I've got 3 embossed cards. You can see where they're the raised letters and numbers. If we take our little measuring tool and we get a feel for the thickness of this utility card, it's 0.19. So if we look at that 0.19 and we grab these 4 flat cards, you get a feel that these are only 0.13. And with the raised embossed cards, we'll get this right where it's embossed right there, so you get them all. These 3 are 0.11 or 12. So even with 4 cards and 3 cards here, this is still thicker. And with that being the case, consideration of how you carry this is something you should look at more closely. Now let's see how this fits in wallets. Our first example is the Brecker Hide Bifold. And we can pull this, and one thing to note too is not only does this slant edge right here provide you a proper edge for measuring, but it is also the great edge you use to slide it into a slot. So you're not, it goes in nicely and you don't have to fight against a square edge over here. So you can see how that fits there. And I'm not going to put cash or cards in here, but you get a feel of how thick this looks in that particular slot. Next, let's grab a Taurus Camp grain wallet. Now this grain wallet, of course, has many different slots. You can put them about anywhere. If you put this in the front, of course it fits. No issues. You can put it in the middle, which might be where you want to put it. And closed, of course, no issues. It closes just fine. And you put cash and other cards in there. It comes down to priority. So the difference is multi-tools that are metal, that are not like this one, are a lot thinner, obviously, but they have fewer capabilities. And it depends on what you're looking for as to what you would put in your wallet. I think multi-tools are a great kit to have in your wallet as you travel every day. So what's next? I've got a slim wallet here from Rustico. This is their topology, really quite nice looking. This is for cash on the interior, and so we'll use a slot out here to push this card into. And there you can see how it fits. Again, it takes up quite a bit of room. So if you feel like you have to have this, especially when you're dealing with a slim wallet, then just be aware of how it takes up space that would normally be there with cards. And finally, let's look at the Frenchie. This is a speed wallet, and as such, we know that they have pull straps. Let's put this right here and push this in. Of course, it works fine. It just means that it's not a place where you have cash. Now, unlike the other versions of Frenchie, for example, this has a sewn bottom. On the smaller Mini, this is open on the bottom, so you would be able to carry more cards in addition to just this multi-tool. But as you'd expect, it closes just fine and functions. Again, it's meant to work with wallets, but it's a compromise based off of the normal amount of cards you carry and what it means when you're carrying a multi-tool. This is designed and made in Switzerland, and it's made from a thermoplastic cellulose. Like I mentioned, it comes in black and red in addition to this blue. And all the feature components are made from stainless steel or other high-quality material. It's priced for $35. From a usability perspective, the Swisscard series also comes in a nail care version and a classic, which adds a few additional function pieces that they don't come in the Lite, and they all miss one thing or another. That said, there are different cards for different functions. The Lite truly is an urban EDC kit item. It's not something I would make my primary multi-tool if I'm going rural or wilderness. And I have a different kit that I take with me based on where I'm going and for how long I'm traveling. Now, if you're interested in that, let me know in the comments and I'll put a video together on the different kit that I carry depending on where I'm going and for how long. Now, on every version, as I mentioned, even though this knife, they all have little knives, is under 3 inches, the TSA or other airport security organizations throughout the world have been known to confiscate these types of cards. Despite this, many have carried them for years without any issues, so be aware of that if you travel with this. And if worse comes to worse, convince them just to take this little knife out and you can carry the rest of this with you so you don't lose the entire card. You might even think that, that this battery might be a throwaway right here. This little light might be a throwaway because of the battery that's in here, but actually you can replace this battery. So you push forward to turn on, and as you pull back, if you get your fingernail in here and you pull back further, you see this begins to pull out, at which point you can pull it out like this, replace that battery, put it back in, press forward, and now you're back in business. And now you can still continue to use that light. All right, finally, so what's missing? Well, I'm going to say the toothpick and the nail file. Both of these are in the classic card, but I want them all, and I want them in a single card. Now, I'm sure it's possible to put the nail file portion maybe on the other side of the knife, but the other one, I mean, anyway, they're creative people. So let me know what tools you want added, would be willing to trade for, or lose entirely in the comments below. Now on to the final score. For quality of 4, good quality, but it is a bit fragile compared to other multi-tool cards that are all metal. Price of 3, features of 5. Got lots of things in there. Usability of 5, very easy. Perception of 5. Company makes great products. That gives us a final score of 43 out of 50. You made it to the end. Now look at this next video right here if you liked this one. And we'll see you in the next review. Bye.